We're now at the section of the agenda for public discussion and comments on agenda items. Please refer to the regulations regarding discussion and comments that is posted next to the sign-in sheet. I have no one signed up for agenda items, but would anybody in the audience like to speak on agenda items? If not, we're going to roll through our agenda. We're going to move on to our superintendent of schools, Dr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. I have our regular board presentation. This is the first board meeting in February, and as we have done since September, the first board meeting of every month, we give you an update regarding construction work, capital bond work, EPC work that's taking place across the district. So I'm going to ask for our presenters to come up to the microphone and give us your best dynamic presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our primary focus on our capital project continues to be our Career and Tech Education Center. And we've set a goal of late February, early March to have our preliminary submission for that project up to SCD. Mr. Colby is going to present our progress thus far, and looking forward to your input. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Ramjo. So last month we were here, we gave you a very brief presentation about the design and the layout of the current CTE plan. I'm going to update you on a few minor changes that we had in committee and for the rest of the group. Real quick, I'll go through this and then field some questions from you. So the first minor change that you'll see here has to do with some work related to parking and field placement. Last time this was a little more schematic, so you can see that parking is located here, athletics over on this side, and then the balance of the building stayed in the same location. Moving forward with the plan, the bars, what we would call the industrial side on the yellow here, and then health sciences, human services on the other side. West Street is here at the bottom, and then the gymnasium and what we're calling the event core or the event space. This will be gymnasium, but also be used for other academic purposes and program. If you recall, at the last meeting, we spoke about this gymnasium or event cube would be sunken in at the West Street and Gidney Avenue corner. This was to keep it as low as possible, but we were looking at some budgetary constraints related to that, and then the aesthetics of how this would feel on the corner. It's a very prominent corner, and in committee we're very concerned about how proud this building is going to look, but also how it's going to interface with the community. So this is now at grade level, which satisfies some budgetary constraints and also some aesthetic desires and needs. But what that's required us to do is create on the second level bridges that connect all three components. So that would be, again, the yellow bars here for industrial, and then human and health services on the other side. This also allows for better circulation at this level. Could also be used for after main school hour academics, but for athletics, because this could create a sort of an indoor track, if you will. And then moving up to the third level would be our fine arts and tech, which has stayed the same. And looking at future expansion on this side would be additional classrooms, if so desired. This building is going to be built currently to be able to support an additional floor as the programs expand. Looking quickly at a section of the building, this would be the main lobby on the left side, and that's again facing West Street. It would be the connection bridge that would get you back to the industrial arts, fine arts, and future expansion. This line that you see in the background would be the event space for athletics and other sort of performing arts program features. This is another section cut through the building, again, health sciences on the left side, West Street, and industrial arts. And then just a 3D perspective of what this would look like from the corner of Gidney and West Street. We're, again, still looking at materiality, what the facade of the building is going to look like. As Mr. Ranjog mentioned, we are starting a preliminary submission with the state. That's a more technical review that the state's going to have. And we're working through finer details of floor plans and programming. This building has gone through a lot of iterations. It's something that I think we're proud of as a group and a committee and designers. There's nothing like this that I've seen in New York State, or for that matter, on the East Coast in terms of CTE. And I think that goes with saying even at the collegiate level. This committee has really pushed us as designers and the group to make sure that this is a special building, not only for the students, but for the community. And I think as you see this design progress in the coming months, it'll become more and more apparent how significant this building is going to be within the community.
Board members, do you have questions or comments?
Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes my items for this evening.
We're going to move on to our board committees. I'll start with the curriculum committee. In addition to the items on this agenda, we discussed Heidi Hayes Jacobs, Director's Professional Development, Kenneth Mars Assembly, which is coming up in April, AIS and RTI, the Empire Program, Illustrative Math, Discovery Education, and the American Reading Company. So we had some really good discussions in curriculum. We're going to move on to our Exceptional Learners Committee. Mr. Howard.
Yes, Madam President, we at our exceptional learning committee, we had a presentation on the guidance audit that was done on the district. We also had a presentation on the social emotional learning framework, and we had a Feds Day data information explanation. And we also talked about the resilience professional development between collaborative with Cornwall Cooperative and equity and access. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Audit and Finance, which just happened a few minutes ago. Mrs. Santiago.
Yes, most of the, thank you, Madam Chairman. Most of the items are on today's agenda. It was definitely a jam-packed session. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Elementary, Mrs. Moriarty.
Thank you, Madam President. Elementary Curriculum Instruction presents items 5.1 to 5.9 for your consideration.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions for discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Broca? Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strideyer?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Berger?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Mrs. Moriarty. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Secondary, Dr. Spindler.
Thank you, Madam President. I present items 6.1 through 6.5 of the consent agenda for your consideration.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Sturdine?
On item 6.1, the second item here for the trip to Switzerland and Italy, are there any requirements for this trip that includes students as part of the scholarship?
For Newburgh?
Yes, is there a requirement that Newburgh students attend this trip as part
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson?
That concludes my items this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spindler. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Exceptional Learners, Mr. Bader.
Good evening, Madam President. Exceptional Learners has one item for the on the agenda tonight, the recommendations from the CSE and CPSE committees.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Maida? Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard?
Thank you. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Mr. Bader. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Mr. Assay.
Thank you, Madam President. Finance Department has 12 consent items for your consideration.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items? I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That will conclude my consent.
Thank you, Mr. Assay. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent for HR, Human Resources, Mr. McElmay.
Thank you, Madam President. On the Human Resources agenda, I have items 9.1 through 9.9 for your consideration.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items? I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Thank you. Questions or discussion? Yes, sir.
I just want to clarify on 9.2 F, number 1, that this resignation is only for the winter varsity team.
That's correct.
And so the spring varsity team has not named the coach. I don't think it's done any interviews yet.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Madam President, I'd like to request permission to add 3 items.
Sure, let's do one at a time. Would you like to tell us what the first one is, please?
Yes. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the terms of supplemental memorandum of agreement dated February 11th, 2020, between the district and the Newburgh Teachers Association regarding secondary special education teachers who require statement of continued eligibility from the State Education Department by June 30th, 2020. A copy of said SMOA presented to the board at this meeting shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
I'd like to entertain a motion to add this to the agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call to add.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard? Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Okay, questions or discussion on this resolution? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard? Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Second resolution, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the terms of the supplemental memorandum of agreement dated February 11th, 2020, between the district and the Teaching Assistants Bargaining Unit of the Newburgh Teachers Association regarding the stipend for teaching assistants who provide translation services. A copy of said SMOA, as presented to the board at this meeting, shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
I'd like to entertain a motion to add this to the agenda.
Second.
Roll call to add, please.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Thank you. Questions or discussion on this resolution? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
The last resolution, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Newburgh Large City School District hereby appoints Joanne Ponte to the position of teaching assistant to serve a 4-year probationary term in the teaching assistant tenure area effective February 13th, 2020 through February 12th, 2024, at an annual salary of $36,193 plus $2,500 equal for a total of $38,693 prorated as per the Newburgh Teachers Association Teaching Assistant Bargaining Agreement.
I'd like to entertain a motion to add this to the agenda.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk, to add.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion on this resolution? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Mr. McLemore. We're going to move on to the clerk of the board, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. After approval of the minutes from the January 28th, 2020 meeting.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Item 10.2, if you're interested in running for the board, in accordance with the resolution passed by the board in October 2019, candidate packets for potential people running for the board will be available in my office starting on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The current seats of the trustees that expired this year are currently held by Mr. Walker, Ms. Mineo, and Mr. Strickland. If you're interested in running for the board, you need to get at least 100 signatures from people that are qualified voters in the district, and those need to be turned in 20 days prior to the election, which is on May 19th. So the petitions will be due in my office by 5 p.m. on April 30th. And Madam President, I have one add-on for the agenda. Would you like me to read it?
Please.
Be it resolved that the board hereby upholds the determination of the superintendent of schools dated January 6, 2020, and appeal pursuant to policy number 9140.1, and directs the board clerk to inform the appealing party of this decision.
I'd like to entertain a motion to add this to the agenda. Roll call to add.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop? Oops. Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Thank you. Questions or discussion on this resolution? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Dr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Ms. Maida?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo? That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. We're now at the portion of the agenda for public discussion on non-agenda items. Please refer to the procedure sheet next to the sign-in sheet. I have 2 people signed up, Christine Cullen. Would you like to come to the podium and speak?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to address you personally. On or about February 3rd or 4th, the administration at Heritage Middle School made a decision to ban personal water bottles to be brought to the school by students. It is my understanding that this was done due to a few students bringing alcohol in their water bottles. The memo that was sent home stated that the students could bring in either empty personal water bottles to be filled at the water stations or to buy single-use plastic water bottles with sealed tops. I have a few concerns that I attempted to address with the administration of the school and found them to be, at best, dismissive. My concerns are as follows, and they're a little disjointed. I apologize due to some late-coming information. What the school is doing is they're creating an economic divide in a school that already suffers from the stigma of an extremely high disparity of wealth distribution. If a child can afford to buy a bottle of water, adequate enough for the entire school day, plus the bus ride, and possibly after-school sports, it equals $2.70 for a bottle of water. That equates to $13.50 a week, or $54 a month. Not every child can afford $54 a month. Not every household can afford $54 a month. There are currently teasings going on back and forth. Oh, you have to drink out of the water fountain. My mom bought me a bottle. It's not fair. That's assuming that the water stations are adequate, if the filters are being changed. If what's happening isn't happening, children are possibly inadvertently contaminating the spigots where the water that comes out, so that the children that can't afford $54 a month have to drink out of water spigots that are being purposefully or inadvertently contaminated. It's not right. The other objection would be that we're promoting single-use plastic. In this environment, we're trying to be conservative, myself along with many other parents of children that attend school. You go out, you buy them their backpack, you buy them their water bottle, and you send them off to school. I double filter my children's water at school, or at home, so that they can take clean water to school. I went out and bought a new bottle for my daughter, the one that she wanted, the color that she wanted, to bring her water to school. You're punishing the masses for the sins of a few. If a child brings a knife to school, does that mean no one can bring a backpack? If a child hits another child, is everybody going to wear mittens to school? I don't think that this type of punitive action is what we want to promote. I think that there are other ways to solve it. I think that addressing why children are self-medicating in the school district, that's a problem. Why is there preteen alcoholism? That's a problem. That's something that needs to be addressed. But to punish every student and an increase in an economic issue that's already so blatant in the school is not something that I think that Heritage or the school board would want to encourage. Thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate the opportunity to address you publicly.
Thank you, Mrs. Cullen. I know people have spoken to you before during our executive session, but Dr. Padilla will stop and speak to you after the meeting, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have somebody else signed up, but I'm having a problem reading the name. It's somebody from the Cathedral at the House of Refuge that wanted to speak. If not, okay. Would anybody else like to address the board, Mr. Howard?
Yes, Madam President. I would just like to commend the board for 9.9 of the Human Resources document, the My Brother's Keeper initiative. I'm very excited about what's going on with the My Brother's Keeper program, and I'm really looking forward to the return on our investment. This program is being done out in other communities, in other cities across the country, and I'm really looking forward to what we're going to bring to the table and what's going to be the outcome from our district. I'm very happy that most of our buildings are involved with the program, and I just want to encourage everybody to support the program and find out what it's about. This is an incredible program that's supposed to really help and assist a lot of the children who are the furthest from that table and bring them to the equity table so that they can get that education, so that they can get across the academic field and become productive citizens in society. So please follow the programs. It's great things going on with the MBK initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the board on non-agenda items? Sure.
Hi, members of the board and the public here. I'd just like to take 1 second and introduce our new public engagement librarian, Yoli Asavina Avilia. She is here tonight. I just wanted to recognize her. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very nice. Would anyone else like to address the board on non-agenda items? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Burton? Dr. Henderson? Mr. Howard? Ms. Beta? Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Iron? Yes. Mr. Walker?
Thank you, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.